That was the point.
I know. Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Why, hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. Tonight, we're going to be talking with Fred Swanson about Distill America 17. Adam could not make it this evening, but I am sure we'll get all the proper information from Fred as we always do. I'm totally excited. Morgan, we're happy to see you back again. It's nice to see your face. You've been away for a little bit. Happy to see you here. And Mike, you're already writing notes down on what?
I was making sure to ask questions. Yes.
Well,
Where is Adam? That's
before we go any further, Mike, do you want to tell everyone here about the Bar Cart Co-op?
I would love to tell everyone about the Bar Cart Co-op. The Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who create content for the whiskey and other distilled spirits public. The Bar Cart Co-op YouTube and Facebook pages have information about upcoming and past special shows, which happen about every quarter. There are blind tastings, distiller panels, discussions of special collaborations, and the usage of unique grains. Bar Cart Co-op has educational and fun episodes for your enjoyment. The oldest show in the group is called Distillers Talk. It is hosted by Christy Atkinson and Alan Bishop. It's a conversation with people from distilleries and distillery adjacent that gets into deep and sometimes off the rails and back again discussions with their interviews. New episodes arrive at the end of the work week. And if that one is not nerdy enough, please check out One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. This is the show where Alan Bishop answers any questions about distilling and often puts them to the test. It could be individual grains, entire mash bills, equipment, or methodology. New episodes come out randomly, so subscribe. And then there is Bourbon Turntable, where they mix the love of music with the love of whiskey. There are conversations with musicians, writers, distillery folks, and common folks about music and whiskey. It releases every Wednesday on all your platforms, including YouTube. Then there is If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which is a show about the spirits and paranormal among us, as well as the unexplained and the spiritual. Subscribe on Spotify to get the 5 seasons that are for your listening pleasure. Then last but certainly not least, we have Whiskey in My Ring podcast, where David Levine talks to people who he finds interesting or maybe not interesting. We haven't checked. From the unknown to the known, David likes to get into the weeds with his guests. David takes really good notes. David does very good reviews. He has really good award shows. He does all the things that we don't do.
So, all right. Now that that's out of the way, like I said, we are happy to have Dancing Goats National Brand Ambassador, and even more exciting, one of the founders of Distill America with us this evening. Thank you for being with us, Fred. It's good to see you.
It's good to see all y'all. We've done this a bunch of years. We did in the middle of COVID.
Yes, we did. I think we started before COVID.
We started before COVID. I think this is probably year 6 for us, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, you're making me feel old.
Well, you are.
That's true. You have some gray going on. I can't take that back.
I got a lot of gray. I don't care.
You don't use it just for men and try to.
No, I earned it.
You guys are cute with your we got just a little bit of gray. That's cute. I started getting gray in high school, and I'm white. So
you wear it well.
Thank you.
So, what I was gonna say, where is the event being taken place again? I was gonna say again this year, but I want you to give people kind of the quick lowdown of the basics of it before we get
sure. We're at Breeze Stevens Field again. Breeze Stevens Field is a Depression era CCC build. So it looks a lot like any of those public spaces that were built during the Depression, those big Lannon stone walls and common spaces that mostly men in the United States who were unemployed at the start, middle, and end of the Depression were hired by our federal government to build. And it's right just out of downtown Madison, just on the northeast, probably 7 or 8 blocks off the square, going north and east. Believe it or not, if you guys were in that, I don't know if Morgan has been there before. Morgan, have you been in the space? So can you imagine that as a minor league baseball park?
Yeah.
Cool. Yes.
And the right where the bleachers are and the covering for the bleachers was home plate. So that made the right field fence about 212 yards. We were jacking balls onto East Washington Avenue all the time. So they reconfigured it. It's now a soccer field, and it's used for football, for local high school sports. It's used for what I refer to as old white guy rock concerts. And it is a treasure for Madison, quite honestly. It is right downtown across from hotels and places to stay and places to eat and places to go after and before. So this will be our 3rd year in that space.
And I'm excited because, like you talking about space, it's something that you guys have that other people don't, is space. You're not standing on top of people or people breathing down your neck when you're waiting in line to try something, which I like. Sometimes you need to walk off and take a minute rather than have, I don't know, maybe I'm claustrophobic, but sometimes there's a point where I don't like being in a crowd, and that's elbow to elbow on me. So I was going to say, I actually love that, and that you have a few different places kind of stretch out and sit down and take a break as well too. Up by the, I want to say north, and I could be wrong, but the north end zone last time, there was a nice little place to take a break. I think up by Bullet. I couldn't remember.
Absolutely. There's a covered space. There's a spot to get out of the weather if it's sunny or rainy or whatever. And I think, we are a spirits festival, and we are not a whiskey festival, and that's by intention. So we want everybody who makes craft spirits in the United States to feel like there is a place for them. We've had Tito's, for example, coming for forever, and they make one product, and it's not called whiskey. So, it's that notion that there should be something for everybody there. We've embraced RTD cocktails and people making cocktails at their table. We have embraced NA operations. We're going to have the first NA spirits group there this year, just for people to be able to try and to be able to lean in and try to figure out exactly what may or may not work in their home bar. So yeah, we're trying to embrace everything in the industry in an outdoor venue.
Well, and that was another thing when you guys got into the NA products, you really are delving into different things that help a bar. I was going to say, it's not just like you said, a spirits festival. It's something that if I was going there as like a bar manager, I would be very intrigued to see how to use things, even like the NA stuff, because that's a whole, I don't want to call it untapped industry, but in Wisconsin, that might not be as heavily used, but it's something that would be a really nice option to have in your bar. You have this where most people don't. It would be kind of be my thing. It would set you apart.
Absolutely. We've got one dedicated NA bar in Madison, one that is NA focused, but has a full bar as well, but their focus is on NA. And this whole new group of drinkers is going to challenge us in ways we have typically not been challenged generationally. They just don't drink the way my generation drinks. Okay. They're far less interested in sitting on bar stools and having conversations with the bartender than say, my generation. They drink less, and a lot of times they go out, they don't drink at all. So NA options are one of their biggest focuses, which I think is amazing.
I will say, as somebody who enjoys regular craft cocktails, but I've also had some NA cocktails here and there. It's hard to tell the difference between the two if they're done properly. Seedlip, I think or Seedlib, however you say it. Some of the ones that they produce are fantastic substitutes in cocktails. So even some of the NA beers, even though, we're talking about spirits, it's surprising how much they taste like an actual beer.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
We do 4:00 beers at my office on Fridays, and one of my team members is allergic to alcohol. So she always brings in, a different NA beer. So kind of try her stuff too. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There's a whole market out there and a whole new kind of population that dabbles in that for, either health reasons or also, just to try it or for drinking reasons. So definitely some good stuff coming out of that.
I think that it's this new generation of drinkers, the 20 and 30-year-olds they're changing food and beverage across the board. Eat less, eat better, drink less, drink better. And I think that ethos is something we could all learn from. And trust me, I don't have a lot of time for men that are my age that look like me who bemoan or bitch and moan about this new generation of drinkers. All I care about is we've got to figure out how to meet them where they're at. The industry is suffering. Craft beverage alcohol is taking it pretty hard. This year will be yet another rough year. Wine is really down. Craft beer is very much down, and craft spirits are down. So we've got to figure out what the new thing is, and if we can have a venue and an event that highlights some of these things for beverage-focused businesses, then I think we're in the right spot.
Yeah, back to your point, when you were talking about the variety that's there, I would say one of my friends brought his wife last year, and it was their 35th anniversary weekend. And she decided just to tag along and see what it was like, but she doesn't drink whiskey or anything. And we kept assuring her she will find something. It's like, and you will find even that one thing that you have never had before that you will like. And her eyes got opened, and she was actually kind of sheepish because she's like, I really like it. And it was one of the seltzers. And she's like, I really like that one. I'd like to try it again. Like, you can go back, right? It's like, you can go back and visit them a second time. And so she ended up visiting multiple times, but she got a kick out of it because she, one, had the preconceived notion that it was going to be a bunch of alcoholics, half passed out. And then two, that she was not going to find anything that she would like, and she would just be watching her husband drink. And we're both very happy seeing that she was proven wrong. He much more than me, but also she honestly had a good time. And she's like, that was actually a lot of fun, and there's a lot of good things there. And as a nurse, she actually came up with a business idea for spirits events. She said, I should be one of those people that have an IV station. It's like, well, there you go.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got some of those goofy, and I don't know if they're gimmicky. I believe in a couple things. I believe in Underberg, and I believe in whatever the hell we've given out the last 3 years has seemed to help people manage the event better. It's called IV something or other. You get it right when you walk in the door. It's a 2-ounce shooter of electrolytes and salts, and I think that has been of great benefit to a lot of people. So, and then we have all-you-can-eat food, for Lord's sake. I mean, eat before you come, for one. First off, eat breakfast, then eat lunch, then eat second lunch, and then come and eat with us. That's how that game should go. And there's all you can eat food. There's all the water you can drink. There's sodas, the whole 9 yards. There's plenty of NA products there to pump the brakes whenever you need to. But the easiest way to pump the brakes is to stop at a table and have a conversation.
Yep.
And as long as you're talking and asking questions, then you're not drinking as much. So
yeah. Well, that's never really been an issue with the event, which is what I've liked. I was going to say the people all seem to have a very, very straightforward mindset with what they were doing there. Not to say that people aren't going to have a good time, you know what I mean? Like, but there's very few people that kind of get caught off guard. And like you said, sometimes you just have to go sit in the bleachers for a minute. You come back.
Yeah.
I think I've heard more often, probably 9 to 1, 8 to 1, people that come back and tell me that they were absolutely convinced that they couldn't do the event because there was no way that they could do it safely. And then their comments to me afterwards are like, oh my God, that was like you said it was. Okay, just drink a lot of water. Always have a water bottle in your hand. Stop and have conversations. Stop and go eat lunch. Take a break for 30 minutes. You know, there's a way to do this safely and sanely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we always expected. That's been like a goal of yours, the entire group since you started this was you try to have it someplace that's centrally located, that's within walking distance of hotels, if it wasn't already at a hotel in the previous years. Just to be safe and cut down on things prior to Uber and Lyft and everyone being such a massive shift with that, where it's, I don't care, for $20, I'll have you drive me home tonight. Just kind of taking that into account for people beforehand sets the tone. So I've always respected that part of it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And just so people know, and I've said it every time we've been on, we're in a pickle in Madison because there's not a big enough venue for us to, if we wanted to stay inside and to have the permitting. There are bigger venues that are the size of Reese Stevens, but that ticket would go up to $150 immediately, and it would double and 2.5 times the price currently. And I'm not going to do that to our customer base. I'd like to keep a $60, $70 ticket at GA so people can afford it, and then provide a little more value for another $10 and then another $10. So, all the ballrooms in the hotels, as you guys saw when we were down at the Edgewater, we have outgrown those. Mm-hmm. So we are now outside, and I know they're skeptics, and they tend not to be from Wisconsin. And the skeptics always say, what if it rains? And I said, well, then we're going to get wet. And we're cut from hardy stock in Wisconsin, so we will figure our shit out. So people know, they'll look at the thing, they'll bring a raincoat, they'll go find shelter if it gets really bad, and then they'll come and go.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, as an event organizer, the best thing for an outdoor event, an outdoor drinking event, is if it starts raining in the last 30 minutes to 15 minutes, because then everybody just leaves and there's no dilly-dally. They're right out the door. See ya. It's the fastest exit ever. So that's like the dream day. It's overcast, it's 75, and then it starts pouring rain in the last 30 minutes.
Well, or they turn the sprinklers on.
We can turn the sprinklers.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you guys have had excellent luck the past few years, even going back to the first year outdoors. It's been 70s, 80s, and beautiful every day. So
last year was pretty hot. It was pretty sunny. I know a lot of people complained about it. I always think that's curious. I would never walk up to an event organizer and start a sentence with, "It was so hot today." Because it was hot today. You're right.
I've been waiting for that. You know exactly. Yeah. I've been waiting for this heat to not have to wear like extra layers to be warm.
I mean, it is, and we're going to figure it out. I mean, eventually, at some point, if we stay outside forever and ever and ever, it's going to rain. There's just no two ways about that. We'll figure it out. And if it's overcast, I always tell people if it's like it was last year when it was sunny and hotter. Nobody needs to use the restrooms. Okay. But if it's overcast and 75 degrees, the restroom lines are like 12 deep all day. So, you can pick your poison, I guess. You can have really good weather and stand in long lines, or have a little sunnier and never have to use the restroom.
Ooh.
And I love the fact that because we're not a whiskey event, people talk about their favorite things and the buzz of the event. And last year's buzz, there are 4 words that nobody would have put even going into the event. Nobody would have talked about mushroom gin as the buzz of the event, nor would anybody have talked about blackberry brandy being a highlight of the event. And I'm like, what? This is awesome.
That is what I like when I bring other people to, is finding the more unique stuff that's there. Is like, yes, I love whiskey, I love trying it, there's gonna be some great stuff, but it is the more unique things that you find, that, like you said, the mushroom gin, there's no mistaking that coming in on the nose. Then the flavors exactly this. Oh shit, this is mushrooms. It's like I just washed my mouth out with it. Like, but like when I had that, the thing that spurned in my head right away is I went to cooking. I was like, how the hell would I use this cooking? And I just jumped a whole ship. But like, pretty much everything you have tastes like it's supposed to this is like yeah. So that was one that shot my head into a little.
And my head went right to the lowest hanging fruit would be a Bloody Mary all day for that. But then I immediately went to a savory martini, okay, with an olive, maybe a dirty martini. When was the last time that olives and mushrooms didn't go together?
Dirty martini would be good with that.
Yeah, with that, I mean, come on. I mean, that guy's an alchemist. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dead on with the flavors, with whatever it was. You're like, well, that is exactly what that is.
But seriously, a dirty, earthy martini.
I mean, the umami that mushrooms bring, would just make that drink fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We also had a rhubarb gin that was just chef's kiss.
Yes.
So,
I mean, there's so much tartness that you can play all day because there's so many drinks that are sweet, but there's fewer drinks that balance tart and sweet. Okay, and to balance that tartness, because rhubarb is always balanced with sugar in any cooking scenario, whether it's rhubarb sauce or pie. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember that one too, and it's just like, wow. And I don't drink a lot at the event, so for me to have memories of things that I didn't try a lot of is pretty a kind of a minor miracle, because I walk around a lot and put out fires.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, you're moving around. It's hard to get you to try stuff. You're moving about, like you said, just making sure everything moves smooth.
True. And everybody gets my phone number, and that doesn't help to pump the brakes. So I'm out of ice. I'm out of water. We're out of this. We're out of that. This girl's bothering me. She's making my wife mad. All the things. You have no idea what the kind of phone calls I get on that day.
That's what I was going to ask him. Like, I kind of want to know. Like, it sounds like what? We'll let it go.
Are we buffering again?
We might have for a second there. Well, I don't think it's mine, but it'll clean up in a second here. No. No, but that would be a whole different show of the weird and different questions, and it's almost like you're almost putting on a little concert. You might have to be cater to some people's needs and spaces, and where you put people or avoid putting people. Could be a whole wedding setting when you're putting the layout together almost.
So Patrick, I can tell you there's I consider that Breeze Stevens to be our living room when we invite people in, and it's Christmas dinner. Okay, so that's kind of the guiding principles, but there is one rule and one rule only. If I find that you are in litigation with another distillery, you are guaranteed to be right next to each other. Figure your shit out.
Yeah. And they're on either side of Liz Henry, and you have whatever Liz says. That's the final decision.
And yes, she could be the arbiter because everybody loves Liz.
Yeah,
everybody loves. The running joke in our area for distilling is, because Liz is obviously one of the faces of her brands, and I guess I'm one of the faces of my brands, and I always say, Liz is everybody's mom, and people love their mom. I tend to be some people's dad, and people might like their dad. It's a different road for some of us. Everybody loves Liz.
It's better than saying, well, it's dirty Uncle Fred.
That's right. Oh, my God. So what else can I tell you about the event? I got, we're having more seminars this year. More educational sit-downs. We're going to focus in and really, 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 I think hammer is probably too hard of a term, but highly encourage every single distiller to bring something unique for VIP. That's been lax in the past and seems to have gotten worse in the last couple of years, where people either didn't have something or didn't seem to even care that was a thing that we were trying to do. So messaging has already gone out. It'll continue to go out, and we will expect everybody to have something that is ideally VIP only. And I keep telling people, you don't need to think of this as, I don't have a bottle of that anymore. It's already gone. And every distiller has something in R&D. Bring an R&D bottle and ask for feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. People would love the opportunity. People love the opportunity to give feedback and to say, you know what, that wouldn't be for me. Okay. And that usually would be for me, but that not that iteration. Okay. Or yes, please make all of that.
Yeah.
So,
or maybe, you know, find a way to round off an edge or something, or you got a little too much pepper, bring it down.
Yep.
Was Dave from Natural Spirits did that with his gin a couple of years ago, where he had 4 different versions of it, and was try and see what do you like, why did you know like this, and I'm like,
totally. And Justin did it with Wandering Mind. Yeah, I mean the smart guys, and it typically ends up being the small guys. Okay, but at the same time, every single distillery, big or small, has R&D stuff that they're playing with.
Yeah.
Okay, you know. We're going to bring some stuff from the goat. We're going to bring some, even if all we did was bring single barrels out of the whiskey world, single barrels that sold, you know, we've all got extra single barrels sitting around that, you know, we haven't done any more than just kept them for our R&D. Mm-hmm. So bring that.
Okay. And if you're bringing just like you're talking about pretty much a bottle of whatever it is,
it's like a bottle at the most. Yeah. I mean, you could bring a 375 and then put it away.
Yeah. So it's not, but yeah. Oh, David mentioned, the Ollersheim's yeast varietal strain.
Oh, the yeast varietal last year. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just another neat way to see how that plays a factor, because some people mitigate it. Some people almost play it up too much, but it's nice to see how it can really actually factor in as you see it lay out in the same year, rather than we did this here, we did that here. This is, even if all you got was a barrel out of it and you came out that way, it's just a neat play.
Totally. But, I mean, we're going to bring a bunch of stuff from the goat that will hopefully highlight all the things that we are behind the scenes, things that we've got out, things that we put out, things that are not out anymore, things that are on their way out, things that we have made that aren't all sourced, that kind of stuff. So we are in for the fun of showing people what the future holds for us, and I would hope everybody else would be the same.
Oh, and you, forgive me, but you guys got to be kind of, with the Dancing Goat, coming close to some of your own mash bills, maybe coming to fruition soon in the next.
Right before Christmas, we bottled, did a bottle your own project where it was just under 4 years of our own rye, 100% rye that we had made, and we knew that we weren't going to put that into production, but we wanted to show people where we were at. My first tasting note on that was one word, and it was potential. Okay, because I mean, it was already a solid B level rye whiskey, but it just needed more time. It just needed more love and a little kind of, you wave the fun fingers around and say, "Come on, girl, do your thing in that barrel, do your thing." But we'll probably put it out. I mean, we're talking right now of 6 years being where our sweet spot would be to put something into production. A, because of quality, taste, etc., and then B, because of volume and having enough barrels. So, I mean, there was a period of time at the Edgewater that we were bringing out our new make, and then 1 year with the new make the following year, and the third year new make 1 and 2. So we've stopped that a little bit, but I'm going to encourage the team, the production team, to bring the bottle that we did and to show them what our juice tastes like.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's neat. As I was saying, you guys have been starting to throw a bunch of different corns and mash bills and stuff out there that you've seen going in, and I'm wait to see where they come out. I know you got them all too hiding in there someplace, I heard.
Yeah.
Do you guys know, has there ever been a partnership or collaboration between distilleries or anyone that was born out of Distill America?
No. This year, my idea for the beer festival that I put on, the Great Taste of the Midwest, involves collaborations, and we're actually calling it the Collaboration Station. It'll be a separate tent, but it's easier to do it in beer because you can ferment, and even if you're doing a lager, you can get done in under a month. An ale you can get done technically in 7 to 10 days with a pretty good beer. But it's that notion of, for the beer festival, which is just Midwest, inviting your friends that brew in a different country or in a different part of the country, our country, East Coast, West Coast, South. So yeah, I've never heard anything anecdotally. I am going to, and it's funny that you brought this up, Mike, because as a fundraiser for the Wisconsin Distillers Guild, one of the things that I want to do is at the annual meeting, which is always the morning of Distill, to have that be yet another year of topic that I bring up. Guys, don't think of this necessarily as a whiskey project. Okay, this doesn't have to be something that is 5, 6, 7 years down the line. You guys can do a collaboration on a rum. Okay, you and somebody else collaborate on a rum. Collaborate on a brandy or a gin. Okay, take your house profile that you love, somebody else's house profile, and meet in the middle, and distill it at one of your places, or distill it at each of your places if you come up with a recipe and bring both damn bottles.
So I went to that Hawthorne Berry gin we had from Paradise North that was in the back, and I was like,
that was really good.
You can play with that in a way that. Sorry, see, that's what I mean. There's little things where you're like, okay, this thing could play well with some other things, or in a different gin or a blend that way.
And to me, that's the beauty of the event, is that if you're with the right people, particularly people that like to cook, then you're having those conversations when you try something and you're saying, hey, what would you do with this? And it's not always about cocktailing, like you said, Patrick. A lot of times it can be about, would you make a vinaigrette out of this? Could you blend this with olive oil and make the world's best salad dressing? Okay. Is there a way you could do a reduction for a braise on this? Would you add this to a sauce? Totally.
See, you say that, and I actually had this thought going through my mind because I was looking at the people in the chat and seeing the Queen Miss Adina. It would be cool to do like a Top Chef thing where you're like, all right, we're an hour into distill. You're allowed to bring one ingredient with you. Now you have to make a cocktail from samples that are here at Distill America.
That'll be, we could do that next year. I like that idea. We've already got this year's full. We could set up an entire station in that educational space, the indoor bar. Yeah, there's a way to do that. You can bring one thing and we'd give them a list of 25 things. You can pick one, and we'd give them a base spirit to work off of so that they're not all so far afield. And then they'd have to go get X amount of ounces of that to make 2 cocktails, one for them, one for judges. You've got an hour to play with it. We could have all the builds in that room so people could just go to a counter and pick everything that they had to build with. I like the idea, Mike. I guess I'd never thought of that. We've had roving bar carts in the past, and then we've had
I remember that,
doing a pop-up. So that just got really, really tiresome for those people that were running that. There were, I won't say, there were men that spent a lot of time following the female bartenders, like most of the event. And they were just tasting every single cocktail.
Yeah.
And that was very bad.
Remember that.
And it just got a little sketchy. And it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And it was much better when we put them behind a table.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They felt safer, they felt more welcomed. So
Well,
I'll work, and we hired one of the spirited women at the Goat. I'll work with Mariah for next year to see if we could operationalize one of those education things where we could give somebody the king or queen of Distill America, bartender of the year, kind of, and make you wear the crown around. So
that's even better. I love that.
I like that.
buy a special wrestling belt or a kilt that you got to wear. So
Perfect.
I'll give all the accolades to Mike if we pull this off.
All right.
Do you guys want to hear what we're doing for sessions?
I do.
Absolutely.
That was the next thing. One of the main
So
things.
it's always a World Whiskey session for VIP Plus, those 75 people that pay a few extra bucks to be in an hour before VIPs for the sit down. That's going to be the World Ambassador from Don Julio, bringing a bunch of Don Julio products that are not even on the shelves, tasting through those, and then 1 or 2 of their cores. So it'll probably be 5 to 6 of the Don Julio products, along with the ambassador and a bunch of tchotchke things that he walks through. This is a guy that doesn't do many events, and for us to get him in Little Madison is a big get. So that's that's VIP Plus, and then we're back to 3 standalone sessions during the event. Angel's Envy is going to talk about all of their finishing processes. So Angel's Envy is going to do an entire session on finishing. Knowlton House up near Rapids and Stevens Point they're going to talk about distillation and Wisconsin distillation using whey as a byproduct and distilling with the after products of the cheese industry.
They're going to be on the 21st.
And then Few Spirits is going to go through and talk about their journey from micro to being one of the largest craft distillers in the U.S. at this point. So
that's a cool
three
aspect.
solid quality events. And if we can get 50 people in each of those, that would be a home run, because that is one of the things that we pride ourselves on as being an educational event for sure.
Yes. The Knowlton House one is cool because we're going to have them on the 21st of June.
Nice.
They're going to be on then. They want to be on during Dairy Month, and I think that makes sense. I can't argue that. There's rumor we may get some cheese.
Every month is Dairy Month if you play it right.
For us, that's made off of it, and just kind of add it because I want to see where does the cheese that it comes from have a little flavor that goes back to that or something in there. So we're gonna have a little fun on that. And the Few Spirits one, I like what you're doing with that one because there's a couple other ones like Wyoming and a few other ones that went from. But if you went, they were still pretty small in my mind. I mean, even the craft world, but to scale up and still be doing that's a really neat aspect of it because that scale up section there's other places that have done it and you've seen them scale up, but then all of a sudden they disappeared right afterwards.
Right.
From things that have happened and other stuff. But I was going to say to do that properly would be a neat aspect to hear about.
Yeah. Totally. And I think Few Spirits will be able to talk about something that, and we did not design this, so it was not intentional. We're falling into it's going to be a very hard conversation, I think, to have, but Few Spirits be able to, from a small craft distiller's mid-cap level, talk about the impact of tariffs, because we only think of tariffs on big whiskey currently. We're only talking about tariffs on big whiskey, but Few is in Europe with pretty substantial numbers. So for them to be able to say, this is what it's doing to us, and this is what we know it's doing to big whiskey. Imagine. And then that'll be a really interesting, fun, educational, and somewhat awkward conversation.
Those are the ones where you learn the most about things, though. Like that little bit of awkwardness.
Totally.
Like, well, this is reality, and it helps you, like you said, it helps you understand almost scale of a situation rather than being so tight on things.
And I told people, I said, we're going to ask everybody in that room to be apolitical for that hour. We're going to ask Few to be apolitical, and we're just going to talk about nuts and bolts, the actuality of what's going on. That's it. We don't need to bash anybody or, I think everybody knows what the reality is. We need, let's leave that on the table and then move forward and talk about the impacts.
Yeah. Well,
who from Few is going to talk? Is it Paul or somebody else?
Well, we've asked for Paul, and Paul has yet to say for sure that it's him. Yeah. But my hope would be it'd be our friend Paul, because he's one of the best. Yeah. And he's about as laid back as it gets. So
and very frank.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I would love him to talk about all of the passion projects he has been able to put together through Few with the music industry. You talk about Bourbon Turntable. His things with Flaming Lips and Smashing Pumpkins and all of his whiskeys that have this tie-in to these great international bands. I mean, it'll be fun to listen to. Paul could do 2 hours of just sitting up, drinking, and talking. So, and Megan from Knowlton House is going to be engaging as hell, and she's going to be fun to listen to because she's a powerhouse. She's a younger Liz Henry. Engaging, people love her, and she's good at speaking and explaining. I don't know who's coming from Angel's Envy, I'll be honest. So, but the Don Julio one's nice because they'll be bringing bottles that are $300, $400, and $500 retail bottles of stuff that certainly does not hit the Wisconsin market.
Well, I was just saying that's
even Milwaukee doesn't have a market for the majority of some of those high-end bottles that they're going to.
Yeah, with that, it's hard to find those. I was going to say I've had other people come back from vacations and trips with them, and there is like with most things when you pay that much, there is a distinctive difference of quality when you hit a certain point. You're like, I didn't realize that this could turn into this at some. I'm not going to spend $350 anyways, but it was a lovely taste. But I was going to say
absolutely, and that
that's the neat kind of dream thing about it is like, oh, this can happen. Like this is where the bar is.
Well, I tell people I've put on so many different, private whiskey tastings and seminars and things out of my house, out of other people's houses. Almost every time you pull out a $200+ bottle of whiskey of some sort, and you compare it to that company's flagship, okay? And then you compare it to whatever else we had. Almost always it's people's number one, the expensive bottles, people's number one, their favorite that day. Or it's their second favorite. But then you ask the second question, is it $130 better than their $70 bottle? And the answer almost always is no. And I think that's Midwestern. That's our vibe. That's our kind of quality. And that's kind of, we're very pragmatic. That's Midwestern pragmatism, I think, kind of coming out. So, I know probably there'd be other groups of people that say, fuck yes, it's worth $200 all damn day. I don't want no $70 bottle, but it's that notion of you just got to try it though. And how cool is that? For an extra couple bucks, I was able to sit in a room, listen to somebody really smart and try that spirit. So,
yeah,
that's a good memory. Sorry. So, no, I'm digging that. That's a neat couple classes you guys have going on.
Totally.
I rarely get into them because I get tied up outside because
right.
I love that, but and I might have to work my way in there.
Sure. You'll score major points if you go to the Knowlton House one before you have Megan in June.
Well, I think we might have put her through a bit of a question session last year, so. I think each of us did it at one point, and we're like, Mike,
I might have made that.
She said this too, and
I only stopped at like just over 20 places last year because I was trying to just. I had other stuff going on, but I was also, it's like, all right, I'm just going to be purposeful in how I do this. But that was one of the ones where I probably went there 4 to 6 times. So I only had like 20 some unique things, but I stopped there because I kept talking with her husband a little bit
sure.
But I really liked how they chose to have people taste their stuff, their simple pairings. And it was, we'll try this now. I want you to try this with take this walnut, take this cranberry, do this. Like that was, I thought that was pretty cool to do at an outdoor tasting event. Too. Yeah. It was like, no, slow down and try this. It was pretty cool.
All day. Yeah. I think they gave it. I think that you're way better suited if your options that you're pouring are R&D things and then vodka and gin. You've got to do something so that that's accessible to people. Okay. I can drink vodka and gin neat and tell you whether or not I like it and whether or not I think it would cocktail well, or it's going to be in my home bar. But I am way into the anomaly of the regular consumer. So showing them what they can do with it and then letting them do that, it's a big thing.
They were doing that too, where they made there was a quick cocktail they had coming off of that. And then Great Lakes. I don't know if they were, but I think I asked them to, and they made me a cocktail.
Yep.
I was like, what about this? And they're like, we can do that. Let's throw this together.
There we go. Perfect. I mean, that's what it should be. It should be experimentation.
I know there was a really good vodka last year that was distilled from potatoes or something weird like that. I forget who they were or what distillery it was, but it was so good, so clean and crisp.
Maybe Great Northern up in Plover, Wisconsin.
They were real small. It was a lady that represented the table. I remember that, but oh man, was it
Would it
good?
have been Great Northern?
It may.
Great Northern up in Clover?
Maybe.
Square bottles?
I don't think so. I think it was like a tall, skinny bottle, but I could be wrong.
But there's a few potato vodka people. I mean, potato vodka doesn't taste like wheat, rye, or corn vodka in any way, shape, or form.
No. The blue ice
it's really good.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's when I jumped on that.
And it does not taste like whey vodka. I mean, there's creaminess that comes out of whey vodka. Whether you're the Knowlton House kids or the guys up at Copper Crow up in the Res up near Cornucopia. So, I mean, using an after product like that, and it's just brilliant because there's only one other that I know of real product that you can make with the after product, the byproduct of making cheese. And sure, we all know whey powder, and that goes to GNC in what few malls exist in online sales for whey powder. But people using it as a fermentable sugar source, hell yes, makes sense. Maybe we'll have a bodybuilding competition next to
That's just kind of the whey part.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it.
If you need a competitor, we can find some people.
Yeah. No, I'll be the before.
The before photo.
Yeah.
But like always, I'm always excited for what you guys do, because you guys always showcase all American products, and you guys find, whenever you're bringing people there, there's a lot of people that are doing unique stuff. It's not just, like you said, the gins and the things. Even with the whiskeys, it's a lot of people trying different stuff when you walk up to the table. They're like you said, trying different chances on what they're doing. Something you get a really lemony edge on one, and a different one you get a minty note coming off of it, and you're trying to figure out where someone wants to go with it. It's just something you don't normally get to do. Other places, a lot of times things seem a little stuffier, and maybe that's because of venue as well too. But there's that air of that is not at this festival,
right?
Which I like, just because I don't know, I don't like class warfare or anything. You're just there to have a good time. That's unnecessary in my mind. So that's a neat thing that you guys, that isn't there. It feels more like I said, it's the kickoff of summer. It almost feels like it's like the day before a barbecue event, or like you're stopping here and then there's another event afterwards, and it just feels like the beginning of the kickoff of summer. It's a fun part of a day. And I don't know, it's really exciting to be able to get to go to it again. Are you guys planning on trying to make it to 20 or infinitely beyond? Oh, did we freeze up? Damn it, we lost Fred.
Froze Fred.
Okay. Well, it's a good pose for him.
I mean, he's handsome as hell. We all
I
know
don't
that.
know that. There he is.
He's back.
Sorry about that, Fred.
No, I was just typing that I lost everybody.
You paused up at just the right point after I realized when that happened. I was like, that's actually a good freeze frame, though. I was like,
yeah, Fred's photogenic, nice. Man.
There we go. But no, I think it's that notion of, when you don't when you're not a whiskey festival and you're not trying to emulate what folks are doing in Kentucky and Tennessee, and you're not trying to replicate what whiskey manufacturers are doing around the world, then you can lean into that whole notion that many craft distillers in the U.S., the Dancing Goat being one, where we're not trying to be an American craft distiller that does or makes gin, makes rye, makes corn whiskey. We're trying to differentiate ourselves by doing something a little different, okay? And that's in honor of all the things so good coming out of Kentucky and Tennessee. How do you differentiate yourself and stick out? How do you get people's attention? I think most of us are doing that. Okay, so, the Dave Schlappers of the world at Natural Spirits, and people that have figured out cream liqueurs, and people doing different gin builds that are more very much what grows in their area of the country. I mean, those are all things that are a reaction to us being who we are and not trying to be somebody else.
Very true. All right, well, we've had you almost for an hour, Fred. And we know we're taking up part of your evening. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show and taking the time that you guys take to put into it, because we know it doesn't always go as... Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, questions. Do you know when the exhibitors list will be available?
I can answer Adina's question. We just signed our licensing agreement again with Fest Buddy. And then the emails went out over the end of last week to all distillers to start filling that in. I can tell you right now, our list is 70 plus distillers currently, which is a little bigger than last year. We're still hoping to grab up. I would love to have 80 to 90 be our final number. And I would love 400 plus to be our options of things to choose to drink. So Adina, we will have that out the week of is the target time now.
I was going to say, usually I assume
if I were somebody that was employing my fellow workers, but if we were all employed together and making money and being actually paid to do this damn job, then we could say, Adam, get that shit done by May 1st. So, but as a bunch of hacks,
Yeah.
it'll be week up. It'll be week up. So
that's cool. No, and you guys do
and
have
I should make sure that we're going to try like hell not to have the quirks and kinks that we had at VIP Plus last year, where people just wandered in. I think through, in some cases, no fault of their own. I think some people honestly thought that their VIP ticket got them into that session when it didn't. And then when the internet didn't work, we're going to go back to the tried and true paper system. You show us your ID, your name will be on a list, and if your name's not on that list, well, then you are VIP. Please go to the next gate. So we'll have a separate entrance for those people. We'll try to make it as simple as possible for the VIP Plus people. And make it a much better experience than the scramble that we had last year. So,
wow. I was going to say that's just, there's all little snippets of stuff that happens all the time. So that's not a big deal.
Totally. Agree.
And if you show up an hour early, I know you get excited, but that's a long time to be in line early. If you're getting in, if you're trying to get into the VIP plus and you're just normal VIP, I'm like, you'd have to be there pretty early.
You do have to be there pretty early. If you show up early, I'm gonna troll the streets and make you put tablecloths on with me. So fill water buckets and put you to work. So that's what your VIP plus gets you this year. You get to work side by side with us. Bring a change of clothes.
Fred, I have one serious question for you to kind of wind things down. Will there be hot honey with the hush puppies? That's a very serious question.
We're talking. We went through the food menu.
Okay.
We went through the food menu, and I've got a note that they said that they would do that.
Perfect.
And we're going to make it even easier. The food for the vendors is going to be in a different place, and they're going to get fed before they have to start pouring. So they can get fed in a different area of the event so that they're not feeling like they have to, rush over to where the attendees' food is.
Yeah. So hush puppies with hot honey.
We're going to separate those two out, make it a little more
comedy. That's cool.
Yeah. The hush puppies with hot honey have been quite the topic several times on here in past Distill America shows.
And another one though, quite
food
honestly,
wasn't bad. Food was pretty good. I thought, for all you can eat.
For like two years ago, we were walking over to get a snack, and
I wanted to check that I wasn't wrong.
And Dave from Natural Spirits, we kind of walk over the same time, and he was like, "Yeah, I was going to get a bite to eat." It's like, they have Jamaican jerk chicken. I think we're going to find out if the Natural Spirits will kill the Jamaican jerk chicken. And he's like, "All right, let's do it." So I just went over there, and yes, of course, Natural Spirits killed Jamaican jerk chicken.
Nice. Perfect.
That's the pro tip for anyone.
I will say, I do all the. I will say that I take it very seriously that we are the only spirits festival that I know of in the world that serves frog legs. So, that to me is a big thing for us. Yeah, they were really good.
They're really good. There's people, and I'm like, I've had them. I went back for seconds. Like, what am I? You don't normally have these, and they're really good.
No. There might be 12 restaurants in Wisconsin that carry them.
It was more when I was a kid, but you're right. That scaling has gone down quite a bit. So yeah, it's a neat little fun thing you don't normally get to have. So yeah, that's awesome.
True.
So, like I was saying, thank you, Fred, for taking time out of your day and stopping in and talking about what's going to be new this year and what's going on. A couple of the shows that you're going to be having and events. It's we're always happy to go. It's really, like I said, really a high point at the beginning of the summer. It really kind of gets things going because it's a fun event. So I'm happy you guys have it, and I even like it's later this year. So I'm even more a fan because it's not on the weekend that my work is excessively busy the other week, and I never get off until just like maybe Friday, maybe Saturday morning. And here I'm like, nope, just slashing off days. I'm like, I'm gone. Like, there's no questioning it. So this a little bit later is neat. I'm really excited.
Don't call me.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm like, I told you can show up at the
Just to
event.
remind people.
Oh, sorry.
You can catch me there. No, I try to remind people that we're stuck. We're handcuffed with that venue or any venue because we don't want it to be on Mother's Day weekend, obviously. And we don't want to be on UW graduation weekend. So, Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. We've got UW graduation, which falls on Mother's Day weekend this year, which is not great. And then there's some big thing in Madison, so we got pushed to the end. It's fine. May 31st.
Yeah, I dig it.
But we just appreciate and we're honored to be in high regard, and we take this event very seriously, and we want to put it on every year, and then every year continue to improve. So it's a labor of love for people that love spirits.
And we appreciate it. It's exactly what it is. It's something special where, like you said, you get to try stuff you never really had before, and there's more rice whiskeys we've found since then too.
That's awesome. I'm going to get my friend Poe up in Green Bay back with his Mung Rice whiskey. As soon as he's back in production, he's coming down. So
I cannot wait for that. Because I was going to say the other ones we've had have been pretty dang tasty. So, but like we were saying, Fred, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Yeah. If you were in the chat and you haven't already, there are still tickets you can go buy. I believe there might even be a couple of VIP tickets left. Last I checked. So there's plenty of time to get some more and meet us down there because it is one hell of a fun weekend. Well, you might even see Jerry Seinfeld there. He's playing the night before. So
he is playing the night before. Willie Nelson is not playing the night before. I will not have to break down that concert. And the soccer team is out of town. That was the other reason we put it on this weekend. They're playing on out of town on Saturday night. So they will not be back on Sunday.
Yeah, well, you got it all to yourself this time. I can understand that.
Yeah. And if you don't know Willie Nelson's concert, because those people are so damn old now, it's not anything but 600 seats. There are chairs, more chairs than you've ever seen. It's like a damn orchestral concert because nobody can stand up anymore at the Willie shows. So they all need a chair. Every one of them we had to take.
It was great people watching though. We stayed outside there because there were it was fantastic people watching.
Well, I think people forget. I mean, Willie's 92. He's going to play for 30 minutes, and then Miles is going to cover the rest of the show. That's how that's going to work.
And then some poor guy who spent $300 on his jeans to impress his girlfriend to go to a country concert. And Willie played for 20 minutes, but we sure enjoyed watching him walk in and out of there.
That's hilarious. Americana.
That's right.
That's true. All right,
guys.
Well, until we see you at Distill America in a couple of weeks, remember, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Cheers.